Hey everybody, another Cooking with Cory video. It still messes me up that this thing like reverses stuff, so it's not like looking in a mirror. I'm always looking the wrong way, so I get confused sometimes. Anyway, so today I'm going to be making something very healthy. It's called Veggie medley. Pretty much it's macaroni and cheese with vegetables in it. Your kids probably won't like it. Wow, I did not trim this very straight, did I? Oh, that's bad. Oh, anyway, so I'm gonna put you guys up here so you can kind of see what's going on the stove, because most of it's already I've already started cooking. Hey, I got somebody on already. Cool. Hi, somebody who's on. Probably Chad. Anyway, so I'm gonna put you guys up there so you can see the whole stove. Wow, that is a funky angle. And that's a little better. Okay, cool. So I'm already steaming the vegetables. I cut them up into some little pieces, and there's a steamer in there, and I got that sucker on full bore. Probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up here on the bigger boiler, and this is my noodle water for my noodles, so I'm going to put that on the back burner, and I'm going to turn this front up and steam the snot out of these vegetables. So because I'm going to steam the vegetables first to soften them before I put them in the medley, I want to do that just because I'm going to bake it with the macaroni and cheese, and macaroni and cheese bakes for a certain amount of time. Vegetables cook for another certain amount of time, and if you try to cook different densities of vegetables in the oven at the same time, they never come out right. You're either going to have some of them are overdone, some of them are underdone. It's just not good. So I'm just going to steam them all. Same principles, they're going to steam faster than slower, whatever. So what I put is I put the tougher stuff down at the bottom so it'll steam first, and even there's a little bit of water in there that'll boil and get some of that. My noodle water's going right here. I'm ready to throw my noodles in. Noodles take about 9 to 11 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and put those in while you guys are on, because like I said, most of my videos I try to keep under 20 minutes. So let's see if I can manage that this time. It'll be a challenge. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and say 10 minutes because I like my noodles a little al dente, not quite cooked all the way. I'm doing my white sauce, which is the same white sauce. If you watched my homemade macaroni and cheese video, it's the same white sauce. It's 2 tablespoons of butter. You take 2 tablespoons of flour. You got the melted butter. You throw your flour in there. 2 tablespoons of flour. You get your wooden utensil because this is a non-stick pan. And you stir that sucker up in there. And you get it nice and lubed up in the butter because you got all that flour in there. So you're all you're doing is trying to get the butter absorbed into the flour, and you don't want like dumplings in there, so you don't want a bunch of chunks. So as you're stirring it, it should look like. Can you see that? Does that look okay? It should look like that. So there you go. And the one thing I didn't do is I forgot to shred the cheese before I turned on the camera. So you guys might have to watch me shred cheese, but I think you'll get over it. Alright. So now, I'm going to put the milk in. Now, you don't want to dump the milk in all at one time. You want to dump it in a little bit at a time just to make sure that it's mixing well with the butter and the flour. Some people just pour the whole thing in there and go to town, yeah, which you can do. But again, you have the art and the science of cooking. So this is the science part. So as the starches in the flour start to interact with the fats in the butter, and you start to have the milk creaming up, see how it's getting thick now? It's kind of starting to roux up a little bit like a gravy, which is kind of how you make gravy. I haven't made gravy for you guys yet, but I'll have to make gravy for you too. Alright, so as it thickens up and it becomes like a thick paste, you're just going to add a little bit more milk and keep doing that. And this is, of course, a white sauce, because if you try to do brown sauce, which is what you make gravy with, for macaroni and cheese, your macaroni and cheese will taste heinous. So, you know what, whatever, hate on me because I'm making white sauce instead of brown sauce, but I love my brown sauce too, so my brown brothers, I'm not being prejudiced. I drink just as much brown as I do white. So, alright, so this is thickening up. And when it starts to look doughy, like if you start to get, when you start getting like the little dumplings in there because the flour is starting to congeal, Just smash them against the side, like paste them up a little bit, and they'll go away. The thing is your final product, you don't want to have a whole bunch of lumps in it. And then you can start adding more and more because it's going, all you're doing is thickening this up. So, well, you're thinning the paste or you're thickening the milk, however you want to look at it. It depends on what your outlook on life is, man. You're either half empty or half full person. Ooh, almost got me, didn't you? Almost. I was watching you that time. Alright, so we can turn that baby down on the back a little bit. You don't need to kill the noodles. And I'm going to hit this up just to, I don't want them to be stuck together and they look like they're sticking a little bit. So this is just 2 cups of noodles with some salt in it. And that's going to go in there. Just as a little bit of extra starch to make it a full meal. You know, you want to try to put as much of the food groups in there as you can. But there's somebody else watching? Let me put my hand back. Put my hand up here. Yep, only one person. So we got our vegetables, we got our starch, we got our dairy. So all the thing we're missing is meat, and I'm not going to put any meat in this. This is a strictly meatless dish. Somebody did point out that I tend to make a lot of sexual innuendos, and I don't do it on purpose. I think it's just after 25 years of being a Marine, my brain thinks that way. So I seriously am not trying to do that all the time. So I've tried to make a conscious decision to not make those weird innuendos, because I know that some people's children watch my videos, and I'm really not trying to be some kind of weirdo perv guy. Alright. So once you get about halfway, it's not going to get really much thicker or thinner. So you can just dump the rest of the milk in and keep heating it up. And then, because I'm Hungarian, that did show up in my 23andMe, so I'm mostly German and French, which was kind of weird. I knew about the German, didn't know I had French in me. Everybody used to think my grandpa was French, so I think what happened was his ancestors probably immigrated from France to Germany, and that's why the French blood. But I know my grandma was straight, she was German. And then I got like Belgium and some other weird stuff. What's interesting though is I thought I had Indian in me because my biological dad says he's got Cree Indian in him, but the DNA test came back and said I only have 0.01% of Asian/Indian blood in me. So I'm not very good at math, but I tan pretty well. Alright, so, and if that offends people, I'm sorry. Alright, so we'll stir this up a little bit more. So the only thing this really needs, and I'm going to chunk a little pepper in there. I don't think any snowflakes watch my videos anyway, so if I'm offensive, I'm only really offended 3 people because that's about all that watch my videos. And the 3 people that I know are watching it are not easily offended. So I'm not too worried about offending people. And if you are butthurt and have sad feelings, leave me a message in my YouTube channel on the video and I'll respond to you in a very non-troll-like manner. That was sarcasm, by the way. Anyway, so mixing that up. I'm going to turn this down low because I want it to stay in the state of, like, not quite boiling, but I want it to bubble up a little bit. And I don't want it to sit just still because it'll start to get hard. And, you know, you don't want stuff to get hard when you just leave it sit there because then you got to stir it all up again and it'll get clumps, and we don't want clumps in there. Alright, so cheese grater. And it doesn't really matter what kind of cheese grater you use on this. You just got to have one somewhere. Oh, where's the cheese grater? Seriously, I just used it. What the hell is it? Oh, there it is. Alright. Wow, that smells good. My little Scentsy thing is going up. Thanks, Dave. Well, actually, I should say Jenny. Thanks, Jenny, for the Scentsy things, because they smell really good. And alright. So what I like to do when I shred the cheese, not that my hands are dirty because I wash them like obsessively when I'm cooking, so like I've already washed my hands a whole bunch of times. I've been trying not to do it so much on camera, although apparently it's a good thing for kids to see me wash my hands a lot. But anyway, so I like to hold it by the package because what happens is your hands are hot and they start to melt the cheese, and then you get this goo, like this little soft spot where your hands have been, and you start making the cheese not great so nice. So you want your cheese to be a little bit cold when you start shredding it. So you need 2 1/4 cups of cheese. This is a 2-pound chunk of cheese, so it's going to be almost all of this, most likely. We'll see what it looks like after I get it going here. You guys aren't just looking at my butt, are you? Okay. You're checking out my lumps. Yeah, I should have done all this boring stuff while I was off camera so you guys didn't have to watch me grate cheese, because I'm sure watching me grate cheese is not the most exciting part of your evening or your morning or whatever time it is where you are watching this. I did notice on my little global tracker that I do have some fans in like Russia and stuff like that, so I think that's because I made a couple of Russian dishes. So they probably were like, hey, I know what Saruka is, and they looked it up and said, yeah, some crazy Americans trying to make it. And then they laughed at us because we're all paranoid that the Russians interfered with our elections, which there has been no proof of yet. Anyway. Well, directly. There's no direct proof. Nobody can show a smoking gun that says, yep, this happened, and this is how it happened. So that looks about like 2 cups to me. I'm going to call that 2 cups. Just because if you spread that out and I smooshed it in there, which is full of milk right now, I'm fairly certain that it would come out to exactly 2 cups, because I'm that good. I have a calibrated eyeball that tells me how much is in there. So my noodles are supposedly done, but I think I may have turned them down a little too much. Oh crap, I turned the wrong one down. Well, that happens. Alright, well, great. Chill. Alright, so we'll give that a few more minutes just because I don't know how long it was not cooking for. Got some more people on there? Ooh, 3. Hey, might hit a record on live streaming of the most people I have on at the same time. Normally live streaming I only have 1 or 2. So. Occasionally I'll have 3. Occasionally. Alright, so clean as you go. Dishes in there. Normally I'd wash my dishes as I was going. I know you don't want to watch me clean dishes, so we're not going to do that. Alright. Oh yeah, so one of the things you got to remember when you're steaming stuff is that eventually, sometimes, especially if you have a pot like this, the water tends to boil out. So you want to keep the water in there. You don't want to boil it down too low where it stops boiling though, because then it stops steaming and then your vegetables quit cooking, and you don't want any of that happening. So that's a bad day. That's all bad. Anyway, so now, like I said, I kept this hot. My white sauce, kept it hot. I'll crank it back up here to some medium coolness here. And I'm going to stir up the little buttery skin that got up on the top there. Alright. I'm going to add my shredded cheese. Just a little bit at a time. You don't need to glump it all in there, but we're going to add that in there. Stir it up. Now, one of the benefits of making this stuff this way is there's no high fructose corn syrup in anything you're making. I got vegetables that I handpicked from the store that you can buy organic if you want. I think you're stupid if you do, because you're wasting money. You get the same vegetables a little bit over for $1 less on the, freaking regular farm vegetables. Or support your local farmers and go buy fresh produce when the season's in. Alright, that's my 2 cents worth. Alright, these noodles did not cook as well as I thought they were going to. I think I turned it off on accident, so that was my bad. Whoops. All right. So as your as it gets back to being a milk, and you can chill, dude. You yelling at me? Oh damn. Oh, okay. Bad things just happen. There we go. Accidentally turned the oven off. That's not good. All right. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for telling me that. All right. And I've already ate a protein bar, like one of them Herbalife ones, because I needed to eat because I just ran almost 4 miles and I was starting to get a little lightheaded, and I don't like to skip meals, so I may make this and then just not eat it because I don't like to eat after 8 o'clock. It's not a good idea to eat right before you go to bed. I have a pretty high metabolism, so I could probably get away with it, but if you're a sedentary person that doesn't do a whole lot, it's very, very bad for you to eat after, within a few hours of going to bed, because your body's just going to lay on that food. You want to have a little bit of time to process it and get it down into your intestines, not just laying in your belly when you lay down to go to sleep. All right. So you just keep feeding this in there, and you don't want to get too carried away when you're putting it in, but you can be pretty aggressive with it. As it starts to assimilate more and more of it, and I turn the heat up a little bit, and as long as you keep stirring it, it's going to melt and it's going to make its way in there. Okay, these bad boys appear to be done. Let's see. Throw a couple of them out here. Yep. Okay. Good. All right. Bam. So now, if I was making regular mac and cheese, I would just put it back in this pan, mix it all together, and then I would pour it in my baking pan. But because I'm going to have to add these vegetables to it, I can't do that yet. Because if you just chunk these vegetables on top of your mac and cheese mix already, they're just going to sit there. They're not going to get coated. So what I'm going to do is I want to toss the noodles with the vegetables and see how it looks. Because if it's too chunky, before I get all messy with the cheese sauce and all that, I can cut the vegetables into like some more bite-sized pieces or something that's a little more manageable. Now, since it's just me eating this, I don't really care if the vegetables are, could choke a horse because they're so big, because I don't care. I have teeth, and that's what God gave me teeth for, and they work, so whatever. Alright. Almost done adding cheese. We're very close to the finish line with the absorption of cheesiness here. And I love cheese a lot. Especially shredded. Shredded cheese is good. I'm fairly certain I'm over my 20 minutes. Nope, not yet. 2 minutes to go. Oh, I might make it. I doubt I'm going to make it in 2 minutes because I still have to melt this. Oh, snap. Don't do that. Alright. So our cheese sauce is ready to go. We'll turn that way down just because I'm not going to be stirring it all the time. But I don't want it to boil and I don't want it to get cold. So I'm just going to turn it on like medium-low. Down there. Alright. Got some noodles over here. Now. So normally if I'm just making mac and cheese, it fits in this little duder right here, right? I can just put it in this little casserole dish and it's fine. But because I'm making it huge, I'm going to put it in this big ginormous mama here because I want it to be pretty flat and I want to have lots of room for the vegetables to spread out and intermix with the noodles. Alright, so we're going to put that there. Got our tosser so we can toss that stuff together. I did turn that off again. Okay, that was on. That's why I was like, oh crap, because I was like totally trying to cook a pan, which is not good. All right, let's see how these babies look. You guys steamed up enough? The problem is the thicker vegetable, the squash is done, the broccoli's done, the celery's done, but damn carrots are still like, man, they're still pretty hard. I probably should have done the carrots for a few minutes ahead of time, like let them steam up a little before I did that. But I thought maybe if I cut them thin enough that wouldn't matter. But that was a fail on my part. We'll see how the carrots came out. Let me snatch a carrot out of here. Oh, I can tell by just touching it that they're not quite done. Let me see. Oh well, no, it's chewy enough. They'll cook up more in the oven, though. All right. So I need to get rid of the water in here, and since my noodles are already in the colander, I'm just going to take this bad boy, which is really hot. Oh my goodness! And I'm going to pour it over the hot noodles, and there. Now it's all hot. There's hot everywhere. All right. All righty. Woo! All right. You don't want too much water to carry over, so. All right. So now we're going to take this like that and dump it right in the bowl. Give you guys a little eyeball of what we got going on here. So that's your vegetables and your pasta right there. Oh, looks like two of you jumped off. That's okay. Whatever. You can watch it later. Alright, so I'm going to mix all this together. Again, like I said, I like the big chunky veggies. I'm happy with that. I don't mind that there's some ginormous lumps in this. That'll be all good for me. I put the broccoli stalks in there. So like some people, they throw the broccoli stalks out because nobody will eat them. But again, it's me. I'm an adult. I can eat broccoli stalks and like them. And I know a lot of you are like, I'm an adult and I don't eat vegetables. Well, good. Good for you. Don't eat vegetables. And then when you die of some weird heart disease because you didn't eat vegetables, you can say, damn, I should have listened to Cooking with Cory because he knew his shit. He knew what was going on. Alright, so then you take your cheese sauce and you pour your cheese sauce on here. Yeah. And make sure you get your cheese sauce all in there. Yeah. Just pour it right in there. Get in all the cracks and all the crevices. Like that. Sauce. I like the sauce. Alright. Jab it around a little bit. Make sure it's getting in all the holes. Because you don't want to leave any holes unfilled. That makes air pockets. And air pockets are not good. So we're just going to smooth all that out there. Alright, cool. Like that. Now. So here's what it looks like after you got your cheese sauce on it and your vegetables all in there. And then, because Mom always done it and I like to do it, I'm going to put my breadcrumbs on there. So you get your handy dandy breadcrumbs and you just shake a little bit of that on there. So what this is going to do is, one, it's going to, everything on the top is going to brown in the oven anyway. So what the breadcrumbs does is it's going to suck up some of that juice on the top so that you don't have like this big giant juicy casserole on the top. It's going to dry it up a little bit. So there she is, and I'm going to put that in the oven and I'm going to cook it for a little while. Until the mac and cheese is done. I want to say it's supposed to cook for 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it for 20 minutes and see how it looks. Everything's already cooked, it's just combining it, so we'll see how that browns up in 20 minutes. But anyway, I appreciate you watching. Peace. Share with your friends. I'll put this on Facebook so you can forward it to all your friends and loved ones. Have a good one.